guys, it's Mishel, Deception Bytes, and it is August 30th, and it's 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, I'm picking up from where I left off in the last video with the Q post, and I realize we are behind. I have just finished the 28th, and I am now going to do the 29th. I'm trying to stay awake here since it is almost midnight, and actually someone told me once that if you eat an apple, it works better at keeping you awake than does coffee. Now, I don't know, but I guess we're going to test it out tonight because I just ate an apple. So let's continue. Let's continue from where we left off, and we're starting, of course, with the 29th, and Q is making reference to a post that we just went over from the 28th. And in the last video, at least, we just went over it. And below, let me just reread this because you may not have just listened to the last one. Why is POTUS pushing the FBI and DOJ on this issue? What if access to the servers was deliberate? What if this is known within the intelligence community? What if this is known within the FBI and DOJ? If known, why no action? How might this discredit the FBI's investigation into Hillary Rodham Clinton's emails? How might this open the door to Weiner, Huma, HRC? Logical thinking. Why was the information on Weiner's laptop in the first place? D5Q. D5, of course, is the most catastrophic level of an avalanche. It is the worst avalanche possible and causes the most damage, and that is what he is referring to here by saying D5, because this information will cause that kind of reaction. Now, let's go on. Now, Q, of course, was referring to his own post there, and he continues. What if a paper trail exists? It does. PDB, now that is the Presidential Daily Briefing via no such agency. So Presidential Daily Briefing is PDB is Presidential Daily Briefing. No such agency is the National Security Agency, obviously. NSA feeds the information for the daily brief, and there's a paper trail of that correspondence. And of course, we would expect there to be, right? Now, it said, Q says, Hussein made aware with no action. Apparently, Barack Obama was made aware of the high levels of FBI, DOJ, NSA corruption, but did nothing to stop it. It implicates him directly. Due to the paper trail, it is provable evidence that he was complicit. Now, why did POTUS refuse, quote, select PDB's Presidential Daily Briefings during transition? Who knew? Threat assessment. Adam Rogers? Flynn? And he's saying who knew about this? Who could assess the threat? Was it Admiral Rogers? Was it Flynn? Now, this implies that while President Trump was the president-elect, now that would be November 9th, 2016 to January 19th, 2017, he skipped out on hearing certain daily briefings as if someone had told him they would be full of intentional disinformation. Q goes further on to hint that it was Admiral Rogers, head of the NSA, and General Mike Flynn, former intelligence head, who told him. This further is easy to believe given stories that Rogers was the one to let Trump know that Trump Towers was being wired, being spied on, prompting the Trump transition team to move. So, isn't this interesting? I mean, all these things, little things that we're being made aware of, and there are still people out there that are claiming this is a LARP, a live action role playing, somebody just playing a game. Well, I would really, really like to know how, because it's impossible to me. It's impossible to me that this person is not Q, the Q team is not an insider knowing these things. We have learned, if we were to go back to October when these started, of last year when these started, and look at how much we've learned, I think we would be astounded. Astounded. Anyway, let me go on. Why did Hussein and Hillary Rodham Clinton and admin plus staff plus use private emails to communicate? Well, I think that's pretty obvious. They didn't want to leave a paper trail accessible by their overseers or by Freedom of Information Act requests, right? Because, if there's no record, then no one can request to see it, and it can be hidden from everyone above them and hidden from the public who might inquire via really obvious. Now, was Hillary Rodham Clinton the only one to use unsecured servers? Heck no. Almost all her staff and Barack Obama's entire cabinet, including Obama, had email addresses on the Clinton email servers. Yeah, they knew. All of them. Well, maybe not all of them, but a good majority of them knew. If access was granted regarding Hillary Rodham Clinton's private servers, can you assume access was granted regarding House servers, re A1? Now, this is implying that, following the logic that we know that the Clinton email servers were used to transfer state access and secrets to China and other foreign powers, we can assume that other compromised servers were used for similar purposes, specifically referring to the missing House Democratic Caucus server that Imran Awan used, stole, lost, or whatever. And Awan, Pakistani intelligence, yeah. Did Awan give access to Pakistani intelligence via the House Democratic Caucus server? Well, that's an interesting question. I would assume that the answer is probably yes. Awan free? Now, he's asking here, and I think this is not Q here. I think that is Imran Awan free? He was recently given a deal making him exempt from being prosecuted for any non-violent crimes after pleading guilty to bank fraud. He received an extremely light sentence, especially for someone who had tried to flee the country. So what's up with that? Don't know. So is he free? Is he scot-free now? I don't know. That's something only Q and possibly a handful of others could answer. Huma to the Muslim Brotherhood. Did Huma Abedin use the Clinton email servers to send information to the Muslim Brotherhood? Well, Q is leading us in that direction here. In fact, they are telling us. Huma, it has a little pointy thing here, a greater than sign. Muslim Brotherhood. Did Huma Abedin use Clinton email servers to send information to the Muslim Brotherhood? Well, I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Matters of national security. So these crimes are so treasonous, they actually put our national security at risk. And, noted by Q, have actually led to several agents and operations being compromised. Of course, we know that 24 CIA assets, I don't like that term assets because they are people, and they were compromised because of Hillary Clinton. Well, they weren't compromised. I believe they were all killed. I think maybe a couple were jailed, but I'm thinking almost all of them were killed because of Hillary. And do you think she lost any sleep over that? Do you think she tossed and turned and had a dark night of the soul over these deaths? I bet she slept like a baby that night. Anyway, or just slept like the snake that she is, having just perpetrated a crime that she probably knew full well would lead to their deaths. And maybe she intended it that way. Who knows? All right, and here we are on the next post, and Q is giving us some links here, and let's take a look. Chinese company reportedly hacked Clinton's server, got copy of every email in real time. Now, of course, this is being reported on Fox News, but we know that that's not the case, right? We know that's not the case because Q has told us it was not hacked. Chinese state-owned company reportedly hacked former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's email server, then inserted code that forwarded them a copy of virtually every email she sent. Well, we know that that's not true.
Hillary Clinton's private email server.
And so I'm not going to go through all this here because, I think that Q is wanting to show us what the narrative is, but the narrative that's out there differs from truth, as it so often does. And Fox is not above that either. Fox has been known to have fake news as well. Now, and here's Donald Trump's tweets report just out. China hacked Hillary Clinton's private email server. Are they sure it wasn't Russia? Just kidding. What are the odds that the FBI and DOJ are right on top of this? Actually, a very big story. Much classified information. And this is the exact same post, which oh no, it isn't. Hillary Clinton's emails, many of which are classified information, got hacked by China. Next move better be by the FBI and DOJ, or after all of their other missteps, Comey, McCabe, Strzok, Page, or FISA, dirty dossier, etc., their credibility will be forever gone. And it's interesting because I noticed in Trump's rally tonight, he mentioned something about the if they're not going to do their job, basically he might have to do it for them or something of that nature. Don't quote me on that because I know that I didn't get that completely correct, but interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to transpire over the next weeks and months. All right, now let's look at this. Boy, that apple did wake me up. I don't care what anybody said. It really actually did. Okay. Congressman Nunes sought meeting with UK spy chiefs in London. Now, this is interesting. London, Reuters, Congressman Devin Nunes, chairman of the U.S. House Intelligence Committee and a strong supporter of President Donald Trump, sought unsuccessfully to meet chiefs of Britain's 3 intelligence agencies on a recent visit to London, according to 2 sources familiar with his itinerary. The sources said representatives of the British agencies initially considered meeting with Nunes during the trip, which took place in recent weeks, but that scheduling difficulties made it impossible. Ultimately, the source said after consultation with the 3 agencies, MI5, MI6, and GCHQ, Prime Minister Theresa May's Deputy National Security Advisor, Madeleine Alessandri, met Nunes. His London visit and his unsuccessful effort to meet British spy chiefs were originally reported by The Atlantic. Nunes and staffers working for him have used congressional powers to investigate persons and organizations Trump and his supporters view as enemies. At one point last year, 2 Nunes aides unsuccessfully traveled to London to question former British spy Christopher Steele, who compiled a controversial dossier on Trump. Yeah, well, just a correction there. It wasn't controversial, it was fake. Well, it was controversial as well. It was controversial because it was fake. All right, Nunes House Committee has sought testimony and business records from Fusion GPS, a Washington, D.C. private investigations firm which was hired first by Republicans and then by Democratic Party lawyers to gather derogatory information on 2016 Republican presidential candidates. As it became clear Trump was the Republicans' likely presidential nominee, Fusion GPS in turn hired Steele, a former senior officer of Britain's MI6 former intelligence agency, to look into Trump's connections to Russia, of which there were none. Okay, well, I added that, but Steele produced a dossier of allegations against Trump. And see, a dossier, doesn't that even sound official? He produced a dossier of allegations against Trump, which received little media attention before the election, but set off a political firestorm after its publication by the BuzzFeed website in 2017. Nunes and other Republican congressional Trump supporters have pressed U.S. agencies and the Justice Department to turn over correspondence and message traffic related to Steele's contacts with the FBI and other U.S. agencies and officials. British intelligence agencies and Britain's Cabinet Office had no immediate comment, and a spokesman for Nunes did not immediately reply to a request for comments. Well, of course, Britain's Cabinet Office is not going to comment, and they're not going to give over correspondence and message traffic related to Steele's contacts with the FBI and other U.S. agencies because it's going to implicate them. Right. So now let's go back to Q. Now, I got this from the Great Awakening Board, and I thought that it was good, so let me get this straight. Brennan and Clapper and other clowns, just because they have clearances, can go to Five Eyes and do their dirty work, and Nunes, with his staff with congressional clearances, can't get entrance? Entree, but geesh. Yeah. And that was the point of that. Showing us that, look, why couldn't Nunes, he's got the clearance, why can't he? Why can't he get this information? Well, that's a good question, isn't it? All right. Now let's go to the next post, and again, we're going to go to this. Oh, no, we're not. We've already been there. Never mind. This is Q referencing his own links here that he just provided us, and then he responds to this with another article. So let's go out and take a look at that. Apples. Who knew? Waking me right up. At this rate, maybe I'll be able to do the 30th. I mean, yeah, today's post. Who knows after this? I mean, I got a bag of apples. Oh, I can eat more apples. Come on, why isn't this going anywhere? All right, it is. I've opened it 100 times here. I don't know. Maybe the apple didn't work as well as I thought. Okay. Killing CIA informants, China crippled U.S. spying operations. This is the New York Times, and I knew this was going to happen. I can't read this because, well, they want everyone to pay, and I do understand that to a point, but we're not able to read this. But, interesting. Killing CIA informants, China crippled U.S. spying operations. Okay, well, why did China cripple U.S. spying operations? Why did they kill the CIA informants? Well, we know now, don't we? It's because of Hillary. And I'm sure they made a big contribution to her Clinton Foundation, and, well, I'm sure that it didn't bother her whatsoever that these men and women of the CIA weren't able to go home to their families, ever. Sure, it didn't bother her at all. All right, oops. Now, we couldn't read that article, so, but I'm going to go on here. Starting in 2010, Hillary Rodham Clinton, Secretary of State, 2009 to 2013. Coincidence? Think server access. Granted, money talks. CrowdStrike. Q. So really it's just telling us Q is, even though we haven't read the entire article, we know what Q is getting at here, that they may not say it in the article, but we know it was Hillary Rodham Clinton. The Chinese did not hack into anything. Hillary Rodham Clinton gave them access. Pay to play. So, and it's not a coincidence. Of course it's not a coincidence. It's never a coincidence when Hillary Rodham Clinton is involved, is it? Now, here, Q is making, an anon pointed out, Q left out the R in server. And Q responded, error not intended, Q. So we can go on. Now, the next one is this. Google it shows him putting in the QAnon post, and he said, nothing to see here, Q. Well, let's do that. Let's go out to Google, even though I hate Google. And let's put in QAnon and enter. And what do we have? Well, we've got, excuse me. Oh, we've got all the stuff about the conspiracy. The QAnon conspiracy movement is very unpopular. Oh, really? Really? And QAnon conspiracy supporters, I'm not sure what that is. No one knows why this QAnon conspiracy theorist was in the Oval Office with Trump. And then we've got this from YouTube, news about QAnon on Twitter, but we sure don't have the Q drops. And it's all negative stuff, obviously. Why people believe QAnon's Trump conspiracy theory. Who is Q? And what does the pro-Trump conspiracy theory QAnon, blah, blah, blah. QAnon, believing conspiracy analyst meets Trump in the White House. The QAnon conspiracy movement is very unpopular. News about QAnon on Twitter. So, yeah, and if you go to Twitter and you put in QAnon now, it's just filled with a bunch of trolls. And then we've got QAnon on Wikipedia. And do you think that this actually tells you who or what QAnon is? I doubt it. I haven't read it. I don't want to, because I don't believe that it's accurate. So there you go. Anyway, Q is telling us that Google, QAnon, nothing to see here, Q. And of course, it's all, they're giving us, Google is feeding us what they think we need. It's kind of like when you're a mom, not that I would know, I don't have children, but, and they feed you not what you want, but they feed you, the peas and the carrots and the broccoli and the crap like that, that you really do need to grow and so forth, but it's not what you want. So they're feeding you what they think you need, even though you're not a child, you're not an infant, and they're not a benevolent parent seeking your good. No, they're not. But that's exactly what they're doing. You're a full-grown adult with someone who is pretending to be a benevolent parent figure in your life, feeding you exactly what they think you need to eat. That's exactly what's happening. Well, I've got news for you, Google. I'm a full-grown woman and very well educated, and I can decide for myself what is fake and what is not. Thank you very much. Let's go on. All right, now Q here is making reference to a former post of his from May 4th, and it says, well, actually, no, it's, okay, well, this gets complicated. He's referencing a post from May 4th where he was referencing a post from April 27th. There you go. And it says, focus only on the FBI for now. Jim Rybicki, Chief of Staff and Senior Counselor, fired. James Baker, General Counsel, fired. Andrew McCabe, Deputy Director, fired. James Comey, Director, fired. Bill Presap, Head of Counterintelligence and Strzok's boss, cooperating witness, power removed. Peter Strzok, Deputy Assistant Director of the Counterintelligence, cooperating witness, power removed. Lisa Page, attorney with the FBI's Office of the General Counsel, cooperating witness, power removed. Conspiracy? Think about the above. Only the above. Get the picture? Q. Then below, he's updated it. James Baker, fired. Reported today that he resigned, and that is false. Removed January, fired April 21st. Lisa Page, fired. Reported today that she resigned, false. Testimony received. Tracking, yes. Added. Mike Cortan, FBI Assistant Director for Public Affairs, fired. Cooperating under resigned title. Josh Campbell, Special Assistant to James Comey, fired. And within the DOJ, we've got David Loffman, Chief of the Justice Department's Counterintelligence and Export Control Section, National Security, and he was in charge of national security and Hillary Rodham Clinton's email investigation, fired force. So he was fired by force. He did not go gently into that good night. John Carlin, Assistant Attorney General, Head of DOJ's National Security Division, fired force. There's another that did not go gently into that good night. Sally Yates, Deputy Attorney General and Acting Attorney General, fired. Bye-bye. Mary McCord, Acting Assistant Attorney General, Acting Head of DOJ's National Security Division, fired force. Bye-bye. Bruce Orr, Associate Deputy Attorney General, demoted 2 times. Cooperating witness, power removed. Rachel Brand, Associate Attorney General, number 3, official behind Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein, fired force. Yeah. Probably went out kicking and screaming. Cross this against the House, Senate resignations, final term announcements, plus CEO departures. Conspiracy? Fake news? The swamp is being drained. Trust the plan. Justice. Q. Now, in referring to this, Q states, or asks rather, do you notice a pattern? 05, 04, 2000, so May 4th, 2018, Bruce Orr demoted 2 times. Cooperating witness, power removed. House testimony. Peter Strzok, cooperating witness, power removed. House testimony. Lisa Page, cooperating witness, power removed. House testimony. Bill Presap, cooperating witness, power removed. To be called? Well, this isn't a question. He's telling us he is to be called to testify. He will be testifying. Mike Cortan, cooperating under resigned title, to be called? Yes. Q is telling us that Bill Presap and Mike Cortan will be called to testify to the House. Who are they cooperating with? Do you believe in coincidences? The more you know. Q. Well, I would say that they are cooperating with the plan. They are cooperating with POTUS. They are cooperating with whoever is in charge of them at this time. Their power has been removed, but they are probably still receiving a paycheck at this time because they are still needed. Their testimony is still needed. I don't know that. I am just surmising. But it's quite evident that what he is saying here, that the witnesses that are deemed as cooperating witnesses are the ones that are testifying to the House. And Bill Presap and Mike Cortan are yet to be called. All right, now let's apples. Apples of all things. Just about as tasty as coffee. Not quite, but just about. All right. definitely not as tasty as popsicles, but they have the opposite effect. All right, let's go up to the next post here. And again, Q is referring to the post from earlier with focus on the FBI for now, and then the updated one, and then down below he is referring to the last post where he said, do you notice a pattern? And now he's replying to that and saying, no, notice those stated as, quote, cooperating are called before the House to provide testimony. 2 remaining, and those are the 2 that I pointed out, that Q pointed out actually. Enjoy the show, Q. And let's chug on across the landscape of Qdom to the next post, shall we? Certainly we shall. Now, again, this is like another huge post, like the mother of all posts, except it's not really the mother of all posts, but it's large. Okay, now Q here is referring to a post by an anon who has referenced Paul Sperry from Twitter, who says, Mueller hasn't interviewed Bruce Orr, but apparently John Huber hasn't either, even though Huber was tapped by Sessions to investigate the FISA abuses. More reason to wonder how effective a U.S. attorney can be cleaning up corruption in Washington when he's based in Salt Lake City. And beneath that, we have this. More and more, Mueller's investigation into Russia collusion appears to be designed not to protect the country, but to protect his former FBI, DOJ regime and their political espionage crimes. He has to find something, anything, to justify their crimes. Now, Q, in referencing this, adds, okay, this is from this that I'm about to read is from this. The Gateway Pundit, special prosecutor tapped by Sessions to investigate FISA abuses, has not interviewed Bruce Orr. Special prosecutor tapped by Sessions to investigate FISA abuse has not interviewed Bruce Orr. In March, Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced he would not be appointing a second special counsel to investigate crimes committed by Obama's FBI and DOJ. Rather, AG Sessions revealed U.S. Attorney John Huber will be the top federal prosecutor who will be investigating FISA abuses. U.S. Attorney John Huber was the first appointed to his position by Barack Obama in 2015, 5 months into John Huber's FISA abuse investigation, and he still has not interviewed twice demoted DOJ official Bruce Orr. Orr is a key player in the FISA abuse scandal, so why hasn't he been interviewed by Huber or Mueller? Bruce Orr was acting as a back channel for dossier author Christopher Steele after the FBI terminated him in November of 2016 for breaking protocol by leaking to the media. I hate when you have to leak. More of a reason to wonder how effective a U.S. Attorney John Huber can be in cleaning up corruption in Washington when he's based in Salt Lake City, investigative reporter Paul Sperry said. Now, as we will see, Paul Sperry is not telling the truth. Investigative reporter John Solomon also revealed Tuesday that Robert Mueller hasn't interviewed Bruce Orr either. Bruce Orr arrived at Capitol Hill Tuesday morning for a closed-door grilling from House Oversight. I hope it didn't hurt him when he was grilled. House Oversight and House Judiciary members over his contact with the dossier author Christopher Steele. GOP lawmaker said Tuesday afternoon that Bruce Orr was being cooperative and answering questions at the closed-door deposition. Bruce Orr, former FBI lawyer Lisa Page, and Fusion GPS co-founder Glenn Simpson may be called back to testify together to iron out the discrepancies in their testimonies. What exactly is Mueller and Huber doing if they're not questioning key players like Bruce Orr. Mueller's investigation into Russia collusion appears to be designed not to protect the country, but to protect his former FBI, DOJ regime and their political espionage crimes, says Speary. Alrighty then. Fake news, fake news. Logical thinking. How did this fake, misleading story pop up? Well, here, Hannity, 8/28/18. Interesting. Now, this is a very long Hannity interview, and I'm not going to go through it all, but basically, Hannity is agreeing with actually, they're agreeing with Hannity because their stories came after Hannity, but the strange thing is that how did Hannity get it wrong and why? And is he doing that on purpose? Because Bruce Orr has been interviewed by both. So what's the deal here? In fact, they've been interviewed multiple times. He has been interviewed multiple times, Bruce Orr. So, and it says statements made by one congressman who does not know if Huber has already interviewed Bruce Orr. And it says, just learn Bruce Orr was not interviewed by Huber. And based on comments regarding, and we're not going to go through all this because, again, I'm behind with all these. And if we, belabor it too much, I'm going to get behind days, not just one day. Okay. Now, this is from The Great Awakening. Just an interesting aside for whatever it's worth. The person posting it 4C as Congress Anon from inside the Orr hearings yesterday wrote that Orr said he had been interviewed by Huber and by Horowitz. Questionable veracity there, but worth keeping in mind. Now, if you don't know who Congress Anon is, it is somebody that posted to 8chan, and this person was inside the closed door hearing and was posting to 8chan about what he was hearing. He, she, they. Well, it wasn't a they. It was either a he or a she. And that person said that Orr said he had been interviewed by Huber and Horowitz. So where is this other stuff coming from? And then Bruce Orr has most definitely been interviewed by Horowitz. We know that for a fact. It's in the footnotes of the multiple Office of the Inspector General documents. Sundance at the Conservative Treehouse has pointed this out many times. If I recall correctly, he was interviewed like 13 times. Edit. Yep, CQ's newest post, 1989. Now we're going to get to that. So let's go on. So we know that the media and so forth are saying that Bruce Orr was not interviewed by Huber or by Mueller, and that's not the case. So and we're just chugging along here, and here we are at the next post. Okay, so Q is making reference to this Anon link, and I believe this might be the Hannity one. So let's just, no, yeah. It's the Hannity one, and we're not going to go out to that because it's very long, and there you go. I'm going to tell you what it is that Q is wanting us to know here and see. Now, this is from the Great Awakening board as well. It's incredible how subtly fake news can be created, and everyone runs off assuming Huber hasn't done anything regarding Orr. Interestingly, no one was even acknowledging Huber's existence a few months ago, and I was treated as being out there for even mentioning him. Now, that's according to this violent left. I don't know why he calls himself violent left, but hey, I guess you can call yourself anything. Q made sure to show us the anatomy of how this particular fake news story came to be. Trump calls out Sessions for not doing anything to create a perceived distance between himself and Sessions so that when things do become unveiled, it will appear that Sessions did everything by the book, regardless of what Trump wanted. I don't see how Hannity, De Geneva, True Pundit, Paul Sperry, fabricating and pushing fake news parallels to that. A disinformation is necessary explanation doesn't really apply here since Q himself is now exposing the story as fake news less than 24 hours after it began, and it seemingly began as an innocent comment from a Texas congressman who doesn't know all of the details. So there you go. It's fake. Huber has interviewed Orr. That is the important part. And here is Q telling us so. And he's taking it from this document, which is the Grassley letter to Attorney General, requesting special counsel March 15th, blah, blah, blah. Now, footnote number 5. Bruce Orr interview dates. Well, here are the interview dates. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He was interviewed, and this is the interview dates. 12, 19, 16, and he was interviewed by Hussein, FBI, Hussein, FBI, Hussein, FBI, Hussein, FBI. And on the 17th by POTUS, and I assume that's James Comey. And so look at all these times he's been interviewed, all right? And then firing, then he was fired, and, or, and these are the 302s, the official, record of him being interviewed. And here he is interviewed again, 5/12/17, 5/15/17 by POTUS and the Inspector General, and meetings not yet released. There's 7 more meetings that haven't been released yet, and those are by Huber and Inspector General. So, hello. Yes, he has been interviewed by Huber. It's just not released yet. There's 7 more meetings aside from all of these meetings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 meetings plus 7 that are not yet released. Okay? So now we know the truth. Oh, let me go down here to make sure I haven't missed anything. And I haven't. So let's go on to the next one. And here we are. And Q asks us, shall we play a game? Let me see now. Oh, sure, I'm up for a game. Let's play this game. Tanya, Ugoretz, I'm probably slaughtering her name, but is a career FBI intelligence analyst currently assigned to the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, ODNI, as Director of the Cyber Threat Intelligence Integration Center. She joined the government in 2001 as Presidential Management Fellow and as an all-source analyst with the FBI's counter-terrorism program. In 2003, she became the first analyst to serve as the FBI Director's daily intelligence briefer. That's important. In 2003, she became the first analyst to serve as the FBI Director's daily intelligence briefer. And from 2008 to 2012, as a unit chief and then section chief in the Senior Executive Service, Ms. Ugoretz oversaw intelligence products and briefings for the FBI Director and the Attorney General, as well as FBI analysts' contributions to the President's daily brief. As Chief Intelligence Officer from 2010 to 2012, she also led the Bureau's cadre of senior national intelligence officers and the creation of a 24/7 intelligence watch. Okay, now let's go back here. What is Q wanting us to see here? Ms. Ugaretz oversaw intelligence products and briefings for the FBI director and the Attorney General, as well as FBI analysts' contributions to the president's daily brief. Who discovered the Chinese link to Hillary Rodham Clinton's servers? Who reported the discovery? Who inserted the discovery into the president's daily brief? Paper trail. Q. So Hussein and all his minions, the DOJ, FBI, CIA, etc., knew Hillary Rodham Clinton's server was selling all our national secrets to China and did nothing. And let's see here. They all had secret emails and communications. Hussein was and is an actor playing a role in the school play. Valerie Jarrett was his CIA handler. She was being paid by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Saudi prince. She was directing Obama's every move. Brennan was the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's station chief and is a Muslim convert. Huma was Hillary's lesbian lover and handler for the Brotherhood. Jarrett arranged his marriage to Mishel. The setup and crimes here are crazy deep. Now, again, this is from the Great Awakening Board. And obviously, this woman has a part to play because she oversaw the products and briefings and, contributed to the president's daily brief. So there's a paper trail. Hello, people. I know they thought they'd get away with all of this because they thought Hillary Clinton was going to get in and none of it would matter then because Hillary Clinton, she wouldn't do anything about cleaning anything up. She didn't care. She was like the fountainhead of the swamp. She is the fountainhead from which the swamp flows. There wouldn't be a swamp if it wasn't for Hillary Clinton, but indeed there would be, but it certainly wouldn't be as deep, murky, and disgusting as it is. All right, let's go on. That was a fun game. All right. Now, let's do this. I love that picture. No, I really love that picture. No, seriously. I love that picture. I might have to use it for the cover for this. Anyway, okay. How do I get this off there? Gomer, watchdog, found Clinton emails were sent to foreign entity. A member of the House Committee of the Judiciary said during a hearing Thursday that a government watchdog found that nearly all of former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's emails were sent to a foreign entity and that the FBI did not follow up on that finding. The Intelligence Community Inspector General, ICIG, found an anomaly on Hillary Clinton's emails going through their private server, and when they had done the forensic analysis, they found that her emails, every single one except for over 30,000, were going to an address that was not on the distribution list. Republican Representative Louis Gomer of Texas said during a hearing with FBI official Peter Strzok it was going to an unauthorized source that was a foreign entity unrelated to Russia, he added. Gomert said the ICIG investigator Frank Rucker presented the findings to Strzok, but that the FBI official did not do anything with the information. There's a big surprise. Strzok acknowledged meeting with Rucker, but said he did not recall the specific content. The forensic examination was done by ICIG, and they can document that, Gomert said, but you were given that information and you did nothing with it. He also said that someone alerted the Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz to the issue. Mr. Horowitz got a call 4 times from someone wanting to brief him about this, and he never returned the call, Gomer said. The ICIG previously caught problems regarding Clinton's server and that the FBI missed. The Bureau didn't notice that some emails were openly marked classified with a C when they were sent. Oh, I bet. Yeah. Right. The ICIG spotted the oversight after the FBI missed it. Text between Strzok and his missus, former FBI lawyer Lisa Page show. Holy cow, Strzok wrote. If the FBI missed this, what else was missed? Remind me to tell you to flag for Andy, redacted emails we, actually ICIG, found that have portion marks C on a couple of Paris. I don't know. DOJ was very concerned about this. Anyway, I'm not going to go through all this because we're going to look at what Q wants us to look at here. And then let's look at this. All right, Chinese hackers stole sensitive data on U.S. Navy submarine weaponry, report says. Oh, did they steal it, or was it maybe given to them? You know, for like money from, you know, perhaps somebody by the name of Hillary gave it
American
to them?
authorities say Chinese government hackers targeted a Navy contractor and stole a massive amount of sensitive data on undersea warfare from his computer. The stolen material included secret plans for a supersonic anti-ship missile for use on submarines, officials say. The breach took place in January and February. A spokesperson for the Chinese embassy says they know nothing about the breaches. The Navy is investigating with help from the FBI.
Yes, I bet you they are. Okay, so,
American...
you know, really, we know that there were no Chinese hacker. We know that they didn't steal the sensitive data on U.S. Navy submarine weaponry. Now, what kind of a person gives our enemy data on U.S. Navy submarine weaponry? Well, you know, someone like Hillary. Yeah. I hope that money was worth it, Hillary. It's not going to do you any good where you're going. Not any good at all. All right, let's go back. So we know that this was not stolen. We know that the false narrative is out there that the Chinese hacked into Hillary Clinton's emails. There was no hacking. It was given to them. Thanks, Hillary. All right. And of course, Q is referring to an earlier post here that he did with Google, where he put in QAnon, nothing to see here, Q, and then he adds this, Donald Trump tweet, coming up. Stop the bias. For years, Google promoted President Obama's State of the Union on its homepage. When President Trump took office, Google stopped. Let's listen to this. Oh, I can't because there's music and I'll get a strike. Dang it. Interesting. Huh. Let's go back and look at this again. For years, Google promoted... Are you playing or are you not? President Obama's State of the Union on its homepage. When President Trump took office, Google stopped. So here it is. Obama's State of the Union tonight, blah, blah, blah. Through all the years until 2017, when Trump gets elected. No, they don't put that there anymore. So Trump is saying stop the bias. Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? Very, very interesting. Let's go back. All right. Now, I would disagree. He says nothing to see here, Q. Well, I would say that there's a lot to see there, because you show that to your liberal buddies and see what they have to say. Ask them if they can explain that. But they can't. Or they'll say, oh, it's just a coincidence. It's a coincidence. All right. Now, here is the next post, and it is, well, let me just show you. It's a tweet. I hate it when cats just stare. I really hate that, because you're wondering, what are they thinking? What do they want? My apple core? I doubt it. All right, Louis Gomer. It's not surprising that the FBI has not found any evidence regarding Clinton's servers being breached, like I stated to former FBI agent Peter Strzok in the House Judiciary hearing. It was the Obama-appointed Intelligence Community Inspector General. I'm not sure if Q wants us to go here or not, but let's just go. Gomer on FBI's claim that no evidence was found regarding Hillary Clinton's. All right. Okay, it was not surprising. General that. Okay, it was the Obama-appointed Intelligence Community Inspector General that discovered the breach. It was not the FBI that found it. So their statement was technically correct, but very deceptive in its omission. When I asked Peter Strzok about this, he said that he remembered being briefed by the ICIG investigator, but did not remember what it was about. That is not credible. We know the FBI head of counterintelligence, Mr. Strzok, was doing all he could to help protect Hillary Clinton. So when the Intel IG investigator came to report to Mr. Strzok that a specific foreign intelligence entity, which was not Russian, was receiving virtually all the emails from Secretary of State Clinton's private email server in real time, it is not remotely believable that he would not remember the conversation. In fact, if he testified that he remembered the briefing, he would be potentially incriminating himself in a cover-up or obstruction role. One thing that was made acutely clear, partisan politics, sadly, are very much at play within some of the leadership of the FBI. Though Strzok and other FBI personnel were briefed on Hillary Clinton's server being hacked, as now reported, they knew this would devastate Hillary Clinton's chances of being elected, and they were not about to let that happen. Fortunately, progress is currently being made at the FBI, and there are good people there who are making a difference. Unfortunately, the FBI's deceptive omission in its statement reveals that the FBI has not been completely cleansed of the partisanship that so pervasively corrupted it in Washington, D.C. Very good. Now, yeah, we've pretty much just read that. So let's go on. This is a very weird post. Just putting it out there. It's a weird post. Now, Q is making reference to this Anon who said, "Hey Q, Irish Anon here since post number 1. Getting married soon. We want to dedicate a song to the team. Take 5 minutes out of your hectic schedule. Knock your heads together and pick a tune. Where we go one, we go all." Now, oddly enough, or not so oddly enough, Q responds to this and he says, "Congratulations. Those who pull the trigger seem to prefer," and he links to YouTube video that shows a song called Green Mind by the group Dink. Okay, I didn't name the group. All right. Not exactly wedding material, but great when in the action. Not exactly sure what that exactly means. Not exactly wedding material, but great when in the action. What action? Wedding action? Wedding night action? I don't know what they're talking about. All right. Well, I can't link to this because I'll get a strike. So I did find the lyrics, and I'm not going to read them all because they're stupid. But hey, what do I know? Okay, here's the song Green Mind by the group Dink. I didn't name them. Man, oh man, my hands in the plans, fan of the man, sands in the plans. I'm at home, on my own, gone and flown, a home's a home. Ren the hoke and other folk, soaked and soaked by their joke. Hey, hey, Joe, Joe, what you know, what you know? Hey, hey, Joe, Joe, what you know, what you know? Push and push the level of the tone. A bone's a bone, a moan's a moan. Okay, well maybe that's what they're referring to in the, the action there. Push and push, the level of the tone. A bone's a bone, a moan's a moan. I don't know. What's next? What's next? Who knows? Not those. Bear it, wear it, live it, or die it. Hearts that bleed, hearts that need and need, bleed and bleed. Toke and toke, the smokin' toke, smokin' Joe, he know, smokin' Joe, he know, hit after hit, my F's not fit to sit and follow that shit. On my own, my brain's my home, I'm alone, you're alone. I'm alone, we're alone, push and push, the level of the tone, a bone's a bone, a moan's a moan. What's next? Okay, I didn't write it, and whatever, but that's what Q suggested as a wedding song. I'm just gonna pass over that and pretend I didn't read it. All right. And then Q here, and this is the last one, and you know how I know that? Because it says end of August 29th video. And then we're on to the 30th. Woohoo! Woohoo! Let's get down and get back up again. All right. Q says, referring to his earlier post where he suggested that song by Dink. And he adds this. Pain. Not sure what all this has to do with a wedding. But, well, it's there, so I had to show it to you. And that is the end of this video. This brings us up to today, which is no longer today because it's 1 a.m. Eastern Time on August the 31st. So, even though I'm up to date to today, I'm not, because it's not today anymore. So that's my luck. Anyway. That's it for now. Hope you guys have a good night. Stay well, stay safe. Thanks for listening. I will be back. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Good night.